News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Y'all, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Here's the thing. Does the, who's going to win? That's the biggest thing on everybody's mind. Who is going to win? And I will tell you everything I know as of right now and why I feel the way that I feel I do, which is I do feel like we're going to win. And I really wouldn't be saying that for the most, but I just do really feel strong about some of the states. And I also we have some caveats tonight, and I'm sure you want the caveats because the truth is, we could lose still. I'm not trying to pretend like we couldn't lose. And it's possible. So I will be very, very, unfortunately, unhappily surprised if we lose. But here's why. I'll just give you some different things I have laid out in front of me. One, Nate Silver said this, the pollster, about a day and a half ago. Blue wall being Harris' best path, but PA lagging a point or so behind Wisconsin and Michigan is pretty much exactly the scenario where she should have picked Shapiro. That's the Jewish governor of Pennsylvania. Let me play Harry Enton, CNN, with bad news for Kamala. I'll give you more context on this. This is Harry Enton today. Where is it? There you go.
We have been talking throughout this campaign that Kamala Harris's best path to the White House is through the Great Lake battleground states, through that great big blue wall. At this particular point, that still seems to be the case. And at this particular hour, she's one state short. If Donald Trump can go into Pennsylvania, steal that from Harris, then chances are he is going to be heading back to the White House.
And Harry Enton was saying that it looks like Wisconsin, in his mind, and Michigan are looking like Kamala. And he actually said, and he held up a sign like he physically wrote on a notepad, I do not know who's going to win. Because he said there's nothing you could do a coin toss. I will tell you this, though, and why I feel that Trump's going to win is this. The Real Clear Politics average of polls, and these are about 12 polls over the past 2 to 3 weeks or 2 to 4 weeks collectively gathered. Actually, as a new one comes in, the other one gets bumped off. So you're looking at 2 weeks worth roughly, including most of them within the last 4 or 5 days. He actually has the national vote right now. He has the what do they call it? The popular vote. That's stunning for Trump. They have him up 0.3. As in the average of polls. And then let's go to, but as we know, that means nothing. It's a little bit of an indicator, but it means nothing. Georgia, this is insane. Trump is up 2.6 points in Georgia. That's insane. Do you understand that? Out of 12 polls, roughly? So it's done. Stick a fork in her in Georgia. And that's the black vote there is insanely low for what you need to win. It's about 5 to 10 points below what it needs to be for her to win. At least 5 points. I'll share some details on that in a second. North Carolina, she just pulled out of North Carolina. The ads are gone. She loses right now in the average of polls by 1.5 points in North Carolina. Pennsylvania, Trump is up 0.4. Michigan, Harris is up 0.8. Wisconsin, Harris is up 0.3. Arizona, stick a fork in it. Trump wins at 2.3 percentage points. Isn't that insane? So that is beautiful. I'm going to share this. Nate Silver also said yesterday, it's basically 55-45 Trump, meaning Trump has a 55% chance of winning. Kamala Harris has a 45% chance of winning the presidential election. He's over her by 10 in Nate Silver's projections as of yesterday. Stick a fork in her. It's gradually drifted up to Trump, he said, and Nate Silver's the revered Democrat pollster, and both sides revere him in that regard. It's gradually drifted to Trump over actually a fairly long period now. 2 out of every 3 days, Harris has lost ground in the forecast since roughly early October. See how bad that is? The trend has been building. It's all been trending Trump little by little, micro every day, and it's not gone differently And it's basically locked in at this point. Looks like it stabilized a bit, maybe. I don't think we're going to learn very much in this last week of the polling. Yeah, I kind of trust pollsters less. Every time a pollster says, every state is just 1 point, 1 plus in every single state's a tie. No, you're effing hurting, he wrote. You're cheating. So that's his analysis. Now, my buddy Eric Erickson, Harris has moved ads out of North Carolina. That's not a good sign for her. Let me pause it. I want to ask you some questions and have you chime in right now. Lines wide open. What do you think our chances of winning are today with only 4 days left? Actually, really, 3 days and 2 hours are left. See that? Saturday, Sunday, and nobody's paying attention to the news on Saturday and Sunday. So if someone was asking me what the October surprise is, dude, there's 4 days left. There's no October surprise left. It's that you're garbage and that women around him are stupid and... what do you call it? What are they? Stupid and weak. Okay. But anyway, my question, what do you think our chances of winning are today? And do you think Trump's Liz Cheney comment could actually hurt his chances? I don't think so at all, especially because it was taken totally out of context. Do you think we're being inadvertently misled by other Trump supporters that Trump absolutely will win? That's what the Politico was saying. In an article today, why the polls might be wrong in Kamala's favor. They're saying, there could be a hidden vote in there they don't tap, and they only had 100 days of polling. Well, she's made it clear she's Joe Biden, and Joe Biden was losing by Trump by 10 points or more. It was insane. So I think it's the same thing. They watched her. By the way, here's your big clue. I told you this one yesterday. White voters. Older white voters, old people vote in the massive numbers. I don't mean to be negative, but elderly people, if you will, older voters, they vote like 90 some odd. I mean, almost all of them vote because they have the time to do it, and their life is on the line with this. That's live or die for them as far as Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. They did go to Kamala by about 10 points or more. Then they got to know her, and they fled back to Trump. I read that yesterday to you. That's what the stats show. So this is really bad for her in that regard, too. That's another example. So, and they're saying, the Nikki Haley voters. Maybe they're right, but I don't think that they're all going to flock to her, especially after they've gotten a taste of her. Here we go. Do you think this could be a landslide Trump win, or do we need to take the blinders off and step back? I think that we're not going to have a landslide. If we're lucky, we're going to get, if it goes as well as I think it's going to go, we're going to win solidly, I believe, but I think we could get an over 300 electoral vote thing. Or instead of 270, you're just getting 280. Maybe we'll get actually over 300, possibly. And do you think we're being inadvertently misled by other Trump supporters that Trump absolutely will win, and that if he doesn't, it's rigged? I'm not going on the rigged yet, because yes, you got 2,500 votes that are fake. Yes, you have a company out of Arizona that's working in multiple states trying to do this in swing states. But if you got 10,000 or 15,000 votes, I think Trump wins if he can win by 50,000 or more votes, or 70,000 more votes, or 100,000 more votes. You can't cheat your way out of that. That's my feeling. So he's got to win by that, and I think there's possibilities of getting those in the states he needs to. And what do you think our chances are of winning today? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Lines wide open. Coming up next, I'm going to give you the analysis from my buddy Eric Erickson on all these states. And more analysis. There's three reasons in the Wall Street Journal why Harris will lose the election. Also, how from the Wall Street Journal today, 4 years of Biden-Harris, not that one. It is Harris victory. A Harris victory means a fourth Obama term. I'll share some of the highlights from that. All that. And Kim Strassel's column. Democrats trash talk to voters. That's a good one. But I want to hear from you. You think we're going to win or not at this very time? What states you think are looking good? 800-288-WBAP. That is up next in the Chris Kroc Show. And then a columnist writes, I replied, stop to a political message. I got 100 more. This columnist tells us how she tried to cut off unwanted text, a barrage followed, and how she ultimately banished them. I can't wait to hear from you and what you're getting. I'm getting a lot of BS every other day now. 800-288-WBAP, News Talk 820 WBAP. Lines wide open. 800-288-9227. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. Hey, here's a good message if you're going to vote on Tuesday in the last day or two.
It's a massive drop, of course, from what we saw in September. That number was also revised lower, down to 223,000 jobs. In fact, what we lost was over 110,000 jobs over August and September. So,
yeah, CNN, massive jobs lost, and only 12,000 jobs this past month. Anemic, and yes, we lost an additional 112,000 jobs from the last 2 months. The jobs numbers were almost a million overestimated last year, and we lost 112,000 jobs from the last 2 months already. They weren't real. Here's the final Trump ad. I wanted to play this for you all night. The final Trump ad, and I mean, there's going to be no more last ads, but this is kind of, to me, one of the last ads that we'll be talking about.
Think about all they've done to Donald Trump. First, it was hoaxes, witch hunts, and impeachments. Then it was FBI raids, courtrooms, and mugshots. Finally, it was bullets in a Pennsylvania field. And after all that, this man stood up with blood draining down his face, pumped his fists in the air, and told us to fight. Fight. Fight.
America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, stronger, freer, greater, and more united than ever before. And we will make America great again.
We know what they think of us.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
So if Donald Trump can get through all of that, we can get out to vote.
That's beautiful, isn't it? I like it. Got a little goosebumps. There's hope in there. It's not vilification, is it? It's hope. Hope, hope, hope. And then look at this. You have Trump. Did you hear? I couldn't wait to share this with you, too. The Muslim vote. The Mecca for Muslims, not the literal Mecca, but the town that we all know to be the Mecca for Muslims is Dearborn, Michigan. In this country, here they are with Trump.
As we approach the next election, let us be clear, the outcome will reflect the ineffective policies and leadership that have put us all at risk. I believe that you will stand up to corruption, fostering peace and prosperity through diplomacy rather than through bombs and bloodshed. I, along with many others, truly appreciate that you made it a priority to visit Dearborn, one of the greatest cities in the United States. It is vital to keep building these connections and strengthening relationships with our incredibly intelligent community, especially after the election. Now, I would like to honor our future president, Mr. Donald Trump, with a plaque on behalf of all peace-loving Michiganders, from a quote from Ronald Reagan, that says peace is not the absence of conflict, but the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means. Thank you. Thank you so much. I will hold on to you. Thank you.
Those are Muslims cheering for Trump at a coffee shop in Dearborn, Michigan. Meanwhile, CNN in their K-File investigative series just revealed that Kamala is running separate ads, one for Muslims in one state, talking about how important it is to care for the people and protect them in Gaza and such, and another one for all the Israeli and Jewish voters in Pennsylvania. They're totally polar opposites. CNN did a 3-minute or 4-minute expose on how she's sending two separate different messages to different audiences, and it ain't good. It's on my Twitter feed. You can watch it yourself. Follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, and also on Facebook, all at the same address, at Chris Kroc Show. That's at Chris Kroc Show, ChrisKrok. I want to hear from you. What do you think our chances of winning are today? Do you think Trump's Liz Cheney comment could actually hurt his chances? I don't. Do you think we're being inadvertently misled by the Trump supporters that it's going to be a landslide and that it's rigged if we don't win? and which I totally disagree with, that those things are what's going to happen anyways. I disagree with what those thoughts are. And do you think this could be a landslide Trump winner, or do we need to take the blinders off and step back? I think we should take them off and step back, but I think we're going to win. And I've already told you, I think we're going to win. I know we're going to win Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, which are critical. And then the other one is I think we are going to win Pennsylvania. If it's that, then she's done. She will lose, and we might get close to 300 electoral votes. Joe in Arlington, you are on WBAP. Hello, sir.
Chris, how you doing? So, landslide, no way. I feel good about the win, but I'm going to step back because, as we know, there's just so many Trump haters out there that it doesn't matter who's on the other side.
Right.
They don't care, dude. It could be a dummy. I mean, look, they're going to vote for him. And
yes.
That's my concern. And coming back on the last election, you know, when the whole argument says that, oh, there's no such thing as widespread voter fraud. No, it has nothing to do with widespread. You need 1,000 here, a couple of thousand here, a county here, and you can pull it off. And that's my concern, because Democrats are such good, dirty fighters. They've been planning this for 2 years, and that's my concern. We're not as ballsy, so to speak, and we're better now on trying to defend and maybe counter this and that. But when you have the media, liberal media, it's just so hard, and that's my concern. And
well, the media, the liberal media is dying, and the views and the this and that are nothing compared to what they're seeing now on alternate.
No, I believe you with that, but I'm concerned. But again, the Trump hate, that's my concern.
I agree, and the cheating.
Now the positive part is this: I go to a real Peruvian restaurant in Arlington.
Are you Peruvian?
Family.
Are you Peruvian American?
No, sir. My dad's from Mexico.
One of my best friends is Peruvian, and he moved here legally and is a citizen now with his beautiful wife about 19 years ago. One of my best friends.
So they've been here for like 5 years. They just opened the restaurant a year ago. Mm-hmm. He sees my vote sticker on. He goes, "Oh, you voted?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you vote for Trump?" I said, "Hell yeah." You know what he said? He goes, "Way to go." This is
dude.
And I said, "Are you going to vote for him?" The entire family all around me by the bar says,
yes,
we all are going to vote for him. And I said, "Why?" And quote unquote, because he knows what he's doing.
My friend said when I first we're in the same Sunday school class at church. And way back when, he's like, "Chris, I didn't know how he voted, but I had no idea." He's like, "Chris, Trump is the only way." I was like, yeah! I was like, dude, he's like, he proselytizes these crazy leftist Hispanic people. He's a mechanic. He owns his own business. And so he's always working with Hispanic people. Yeah. Let me put you on hold. Let me put you on hold. Let me put you on hold. I'll let you finish off. Stand by, because you're a great caller. Stand by. Also from you, what do you think our chances of winning are today? Do you think we're being inadvertently misled by other Trump supporters that it's going to be a landslide, that we're going to absolutely win? And do you think this could be a landslide Trump winner? Or do we need to take the blinders off and step back? I think we have a solid win that we're in for. I want to speak to Joe saying about the cheating. And I'll let him finish off about his Peruvian friend, and I'll share more about my Peruvian friend. My Peruvian friend is bigger than your Peruvian friend. Stand by. We'll be right back, continuing on News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3 at 1033. And then we're going to get to how a columnist dealt with getting deluged by all these political texts next.
Basically, if Kamala Harris loses, a lot of the blame should go to President Biden and to his team, many of which Kamala Harris inexplicably retained. Her campaign headquarters is in Wilmington, Delaware.
Okay, so we're just going to implicitly caveat and say another bad decision. Please continue.
All right, that's pollster Nate Silver, who says that Pennsylvania, that she's down by a point there, and that's the one that seems fairly likely that Trump could win it, actually. And he, as of yesterday, he called it and said that Trump has been trending little by little since I know it's the beginning of October or beginning or mid-October, and it's not gone in the reverse, and that he gave Trump a 55-45 chance over Kamala. That's Nate Silver's polls, where he has his formula, where it's polls, it's also trends, and it's also all sorts of other things that he takes into a formula that's been pretty successful. That the Democrats really look at him as their holy grail type. And then you had Mark Halperin tonight that both sides seem to really hold in high regard. He's not a conservative, or Republican, or Trump supporter at all. And he was saying, he's been speaking plainly the whole time, and he's saying that two operatives for Republicans and one operative for Kamala, all in Wisconsin, say that they are all going to be surprised, shocked if Kamala wins Wisconsin tonight. And that's very bad. That is very bad. You also see in the Senate, by the way, guys, Eric Hovde is within a point of beating at the last poll. I don't know what the latest is. I'll check it out on Real Clear Politics polling. Let's look at it right now. Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin in the Real Clear Politics average, only up by 1 point. And let's look at that right here. And it is Baldwin 3 in Marist yesterday, and then a tie before that Atlas Intel, which was right on everything last time. Then Baldwin up 2, then Hovde, the Republican, up 1. This thing could go either way. And here's the thing. If Trump does win by half point or a point in Wisconsin or more, then look for Hovde to win possibly, because that'll be bringing the boat up, the rising tide. So we'll see about that. And the Senate, just so you know, is looking very good for Republicans. The Cook Political Report actually flipped to saying that it's going to be just said overwhelmingly favorable map that very likely portends a GOP majority. So understand, we very well could win, look like we're going to win the Senate. We should be holding, by every estimation, the House, but it's not going to be this huge majority. It's going to be a small majority, more than now. But instead of 3 or whatever it is, or 8, it's probably going to be like, another 5 more or something like that if we're lucky. So better, but not as good as we want. But that's okay. And I think we have a good chance of the presidency. She never defined herself differently from Joe Biden, and she said multiple times that she would do the same thing. I'll give you some details on that from the Wall Street Journal coming up in a moment, and from my friend Eric Erickson in a moment. But your call, we've got 3 lines open at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. As we go into the weekend tonight, what do you think our chances of winning are today? Do you think Trump's Liz Cheney comment could hurt his chances? I do not. And then do you think we're being inadvertently misled by Trump supporters that Trump absolutely will win, and if he doesn't, it's rigged? And do you think this could be a landslide Trump win, or do we need to take the blinders off and step back? I think we're going to win. I think it'll be a solid win, not a huge one. I also think there's a decent chance that it could be a 300 or above electoral votes, and he win the popular vote. In fact, right now, this is stunning, guys. The Real Clear Politics average of polls show Trump up by 0.3 nationally, which is insane. Look at this national polling. It was go back and forth, Trump, Harris, tie, and then Harris, then Trump, Harris, and then Trump. He is up 0.3 in a Real Clear Politics average of the last 12 polls nationally, and it shows Trump 48-4 over Harris 48-1. And we have never seen that before. There's a nervousness that the pollsters have taken an overweighted Trump polling to try to account for that whole shy Trump voter, but they might be off by 1 point instead of 5 or 6 this time. If they're off by 1, Democrats are screwed. All right, we'll see. 800-288-WBAP is our number. I mean, Kamala's screwed. I think she is screwed. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Let's go back to Joe, and then we have Jay and Garland. Plus your call. We have 3 lines open. 800-288-WBAP. Joe in Arlington, you're a fantastic caller, and I wanted to let you finish off where you were headed, my friend. Please go ahead.
Well, yeah, before I forget, I'm from the Valley, the Rio Grande Valley originally.
Oh, the RGV. Okay, where?
Yes, sir.
Which one?
Harlingen originally.
Yeah.
I've got friends in McAllen and Brownsville. And during the 2020 election, man, from McAllen all the way to Brownsville, my friend would put Trump truck rallies together every Sunday.
I love it.
Dude, all Hispanics. Dude, you should see it. I mean, we're talking the big flags, the United States, every Sunday. And this is the Valley. Yes, it's predominantly blue, but man, so much is changing. Yes. And what's interesting is Hispanics from there are very different from Hispanics in California. We think very, very different. Yes. And one last thing, Chris, it's important to tell you.
I wanted to mention something else also about you. You were talking about your Peruvian friend. You're from you're Mexican American. Your dad, I think you said, was from Mexico. And my friend, as I mentioned, came here legally about 19 years ago. His wife came from Peru a couple years later, and we're dear friends with them. We had him over for dinner last week, and we love them so much. He's teaching me how to cook the right way in general. He's a great cook, and so he was the cook on the steaks. He was teaching me. I was taking pictures. It was awesome. But anyways, when he sat me and my son,
the whole family.
Yeah,
the whole family said when he asked me, "Did you vote for Trump?" And I said, "Hell yeah!" And he goes right on. And I said, "Why are you all going to vote for him?" And then everybody behind me goes, "We all are." And then I said, and we all started laughing about that. And I was like testing him. I'm like,
yes.
I go, "Really? Why are you going to vote for Trump?" He goes, "Because he knows what he's doing." And that I found that very interesting. Coming from him, and he was just smiling and happy. And he was just like, he seemed psyched, like, yes. We're going to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, hell, I met an Iranian Uber driver in 2016, and he voted for Trump.
Wow. Well, and then you got Dearborn. They're supporting him in Dearborn because they want peace, and they think he's going to do the Reagan-esque peace through strength and stuff, yeah.
No, they're very smart about that. And one last thing, Chris, thank you very much for letting me on.
Wait.
Local talk radio.
I want to tell my story about my friend from Peru a little bit more. So I told you he was a mechanic, and that he first told me in church, he's like, "Grace, Trump is the only way." It was so funny, and he's got a heavily Peruvian accent. But anyways, he is a mechanic, and he is our mechanic. He's amazing, and he is in the Hispanic economy. Most of his customers, not all of them, but many of his customers speak Spanish only. And a lot of them are not Trump voters. They don't like him. They watch Univision and Telemundo, which are very much against Trump and leftist. Yeah. And he tells me stories, and the guy is better than I am. Better than I am at telling people why Trump is good. He literally is like, he asks him questions, and then they ask him, and he's like, "Well, don't you know that this?" And like, "What?" And then when he explains it to him, I'm going, "Yeah!" I'm like, "Dude, you're better than I am." So he's amazing. He proselytizes every day on the street to his customers in a good way, though. He's not a jerk, right? But he asks them questions, and he's like, "Well, that's not what he did, and he did this." They're like, "Oh, I didn't know that." Anyways, go ahead with your last point.
It's more than we know, and it's great. One last thing, I'll let you know that I've been calling DFW Talk Radio since the beginning of the time. Dan Bennett knows me very well. Mm-hmm. When Cliff was on 1190, I was calling back then. Before went to 570. Yeah, dude, I love it.
I started on Cliff. Which is right. Yeah. I started on Cliff, which is just 10 feet from me, and I was the afternoon guy there. I was the afternoon guy there.
We used to have listener parties. Yeah. Dan always loved it when I called because I tried to do my best. And
you're a great caller.
And not waste your time.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it,
Keep
man.
calling
Dan
in.
Told me. I told Dan to give me a late night talk show host, and he goes, "Yeah, I'll get right on that."
Yeah. Don't take my job, brother. You give me a good run for the money. Thanks, Joe.
Take care, Chris. Bye.
Take care. All right. Can I pop Jan real fast? What? Yeah, okay. Jay and Garland, thank you for your patience, brother. You're on WBAP. Welcome.
All right. Thanks for taking my call. Mm-hmm. I was just going to say I'm a teacher in one of the large school districts. Yes. I will not say which one.
That's fine.
I wish to remain anonymous.
Yes.
However, in most election cycles, you hear a lot of chatter about whatever Democrat candidate there is. If you want to find Democrat voters in Texas, go to your public school districts. I feel like I'm a mole undercover, being a conservative. However, this cycle, I hear no one talking about her. There's no enthusiasm there. And that's anecdotal, but I think there's something to it.
Let me share something that you'll probably understand how right you are. For my buddy Eric Erickson and his analysis, Harris has moved ads out of North Carolina. That's not a good sign for her. Trump's here we go. Trump is outworking Harris on the trail, doing more events that last longer. Trump yesterday went to Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico. Harris was in Arizona and Nevada. Today, Trump will be in Michigan, Wisconsin, while Harris will only be in Wisconsin. It is noticeable that Harris is spending money in Virginia now, and Trump is spending money in New Mexico. This wouldn't be happening if Democrats were not on defense. The Democrats' last best chance to go on offense came crashing down Tuesday night thanks to the incumbent president's less than 40% of Americans who is directly tied to the Democrats' current presidential candidates. I guess he means talking about the garbage. stuff. Anyways, but the early voting shows the strength of the black vote in places like Georgia and North Carolina has not materialized. The numbers that he went through in a separate thing was basically you have to get to blank, like I'm going to say 34% or more, the black vote. And he was mentioning, and that's for one of the states, I forget which one, but North Carolina heavily black and Georgia heavily black. And you have to get to a certain number or higher minimally if you're going to win those states. And she is below them by about 3 to 5 points. She can't even hit the minimum percentage of black vote to show up. They're not showing up because they don't relate to her. And it's sad that a white man who's wealthy and powerful, Biden, got them to show up in larger than the minimum numbers, and she can't even get them in the minimum numbers. It says volumes. It speaks to why she couldn't make it even through one election, we call it one primary vote in North Carolina. She couldn't win one state. She dropped out before North Carolina voted, and that's a heavily black state.
Yeah, there's no enthusiasm there.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Thank you. I'm grateful that you're in our schools, and I'm glad you're there. Don't go anywhere. We need you. Take care, Jay. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. All right, bye. All right, coming up next, how to stop those political text messages. A columnist writes she got one. She said she texted to stop. She got 100 more after that. So she did figure out how to cut off these unwanted texts to ultimately banish them. You're going to hear how next on the Chris Crock Show at 10:48 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Oh no, a listener sent me a meme showing Tampon Tim handing out tampons to kids for trick or treat. Please, Tim, stop it. There's little children there, little prepubescent children, and they're like, what are you doing? And he's passing them tampons. My gosh, Tim. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. And here's how you can stop these political text messages. Because guess what I did? I bought a Trump sign from the Trump campaign. That was my way of doing a political donation, because the campaign sign was like $30 or something, and it ain't worth $30. What's it worth, like $5 or less? Probably worth $2, right? But they probably paid $1 or $2 for it, and the handling it and having employees to handle the whole thing, and the system setting it up, automated and everything, probably looking at like $5-10, and then so they made it like $20. But that's what I did, because I'm like, I want the official Trump sign. I want to buy it from the Trump campaign, and I want to pay them so that money so that they can get use it to win. And then I did the same thing for Ted Cruz, and I've been getting more text messages on that crap, but that's okay. What I've been doing is I have been tapping delete and report as junk. And so this columnist with the Wall Street Journal wrote today about this. I replied stop to a political text message. I got 100 more. Do not reply stop. That tells them you're live. And when you're live, they start selling or giving you information to other political causes that are Republican as well, or conservative. Stop texting stop was her number one piece of advice. Her next piece of advice, she said, texted stopbacks to the message. Over the next 72 hours, I got 90 messages from similar groups. 90. I've never seen that kind. I get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 a day max since donating. The flood likely came from the campaign service provider, which likely shared their list. Once they spot a live one, someone automatically responding, it marks the number and refers it to other money-seeking groups. Some also suggest PACs could have shared the number. Reported as junk, which I didn't know this, but I've been doing this since day one. Tapping report junk, which is what I've done, moves the message into your iPhone's recently deleted folder, reports it as junk to Apple and your cellular carrier. You should flag the message. On an iPhone app, tap the report junk button under the body of your message and tap delete and report junk. If you haven't opened the message, swipe left on it, then tap garbage icon. I guess I can just do that, but I've reported I click on it and then I type report junk. It immediately deletes it and reports it as junk. This moves your phone to your iPhone's recently deleted folder, reports a spam to Apple and cellular carrier. You can also block the number, which I've done those too. Text a spam filter. Get a text spam filter. I'm sorry. This week, my jealousy of Android users runs deep. Google's operating system has an advanced real-time spam filtering. Apple doesn't have that, but they have a tool for filtering all messages from mystery numbers to an unknown senders folder. And they explain that here. You can get a spam filter from Apple's App Store. She installed one called Stop Donation Spam, paid $10 a year subscription. That's pretty good for $10 a year to stop it. The issue with that, though, is people not in our contacts from a doctor's office or work colleague. You might do that. See, that's where I'm like, I don't want to do that. And so I'm probably not going to do that, but I just keep swiping left and reporting it spam. That should do it, though. Other than that, you can get... they have filtering all messages from mystery numbers into an unknown senders folder. I don't know if I want to do that either. Because I do get, you start making new contacts, especially me. I meet a lot of different people and such. So I'm probably just going to keep doing what I do. And that has helped. I've only gotten a couple a day usually. So that's good. Let's see if I've gotten any in the last 12 hours or something. No, none. See? So, she replied, stop. Don't do that. That tells me you're live. I know that. I'm like, I didn't know that ever, but I'm like, I know that if I reply, they're going to freak out on me, and it ain't going to be good. Oh, my gosh, I forgot to tell you. My old producer who I love dearly, you remember him, David. David with Beto. When Beto was running against Cruz, he got one, and he wrote F off, the full word. And I'm like, David, dude. And he, I'm like, dude, and he said something like, he's like, he's a poser and a fake Mexican or some fake Hispanic because David is Hispanic. And we just had coffee last month for 4 hours with the catch up. It was beautiful. I love that guy. He's like a brother to me. But anyways, that's just so funny.